Hello everybody, I'm 10th Dr. Matt, and in this video I'm going to be showing you a comprehensive look at how to put together your own 10th Doctor costume. So throughout this video I'm going to break down each part of the costume and give you a few options, starting with the most screen accurate, and which is normally also the most expensive, and we'll kind of work our way down to some more affordable but possibly less screen accurate options. And for each item I'm also going to include a link, so those of you who are watching on Mac or PC, you can probably just click right on the video. I'll put it on the bottom, and for those of you who are watching on mobile, I'm going to put the links down in the description box below as well. Today's video is going to be featuring the brown suit and a bunch of variations of that, so let's get started. So first and foremost, the most important piece of this outfit, as you might imagine, is the brown suit. So for the brown suit itself, you have basically four options. Option one, which is the most screen accurate, is Magnoli Clothiers. That's the suit that I have. It's a fantastic suit. It's also the most expensive. This suit, including shipping, costs $575. But if you're a screen accuracy junkie like I am, and you really want to get a great suit that you can wear all the time, that's a real suit, it's made to your custom measurements by hand, it's custom cotton fabric and the pinstripes are woven in, this is the best way to go, absolutely. If you look at a swatch of this fabric next to the original Gap trouser fabric that David's actual suit was made out of, this is like bang on, as close as you're possibly going to get. Recently as well, Magnoli has sourced a more screen accurate wool fabric, so if you're looking for this suit but in a more traditional fabric that's a little bit more like a business suit, you can get it in a wool blend now as well, but I believe that costs a little bit extra, maybe like $50 extra or something like that. Your second option is from Baron Boutique. Now, their suits are also custom made to your measurements, and it's quite a bit of a price difference from Magnoli. The Baron suit in the cotton fabric costs $279, and that does include shipping. So it is quite a bit cheaper. The fallbacks for me are that the shade of brown of the base fabric is a little bit too dark, and the pinstripes are not woven in, they're screen printed, so the pinstripes do come out to be a little bit brighter than you might expect, especially in photos and things with certain lighting. Baron also does have a wool option, and the pinstripes for that are woven in, but that appears to be permanently out of stock on their website, so I don't know if they're ever going to be offering that again. But if they do, the wool option is $329. But again, the wool brown is even darker than their cotton, so I'm not really a fan of the wool version. But for their cotton suit, it is certainly the second best, most screen accurate option available below the Magnoli. So your third option down the list are the suits that you're going to find on eBay that are coming out of China. Many different costume companies make these, so you'll find a number of different brands offering the same suit. They even have the same photos and that sort of stuff. One of the top sellers that I've seen recently is called Cos Arcade. So this suit is also made out of a cotton material, but it's definitely the least screen accurate that you'll find. The pinstripes are not blue at all, they're white, and they're quite a bit closer together, so there are more stripes. As far as the cut and the pattern is concerned, it still looks pretty good. You still have the correct chest pocket and the pocket flaps and 4-button closure and that sort of thing, single vent in the back. So it's certainly not a terrible option, especially if you're looking for something lower budget. These suits range on eBay from anywhere from like $90 to about $120, and I'm not sure how they factor in the shipping. I've seen some that like the suit costs $90 and then they charge you $50 for shipping. Others that the suit was $120, they only charge you $30 for shipping. So it seems like generally, with the shipping and everything, it'll probably work out to be somewhere around $150. Now your fourth option, and obviously your most cost-effective option, is just being thrifty. Every once in a while you can get lucky if you have a local thrift store in your area, like Savers or Goodwill or any kind of second-hand clothing store. It's definitely worth a trip. I have seen a few people who've had great luck and they found brown pinstripe suits that look a lot like the correct jacket and that sort of thing. I highly doubt that you'll find one that has blue pinstripes, but if you're on a budget, you can probably find something pretty decent. And depending on the thrift store, I mean, you could walk away with a suit for $20. It really depends on your local area and what they charge for that sort of thing, but it is super cheap. Now, there's sort of a fifth option. I stumbled upon this while I was just Googling trying to find a pair of brown pinstripe pants that I could wear to work so that I'm not wearing my actual suit all the time and like totally wearing it out. There is a brown pinstripe suit on Overstock.com, and I believe the price was like $60, and it looks almost exactly like the cut of the 10th Doctor's suit. The issue is that it's marked as out of stock, and it seems like it's been that way for a while. I'm looking at some of the comments. I've seen people going back like to 2013 asking if it was ever going to be back in stock. So I'm not sure if that's something that does come into stock and gets sold out immediately by other cosplayers, or if it's just something that's still there and will never be replaced. But either way, it's worth checking, especially if you're on a budget, so I'm going to include the link for that as well. Alright, so once you've got yourself a good brown suit, it's time for the next most important part. Shoes! So, the most commonly worn shoes that you're going to see throughout the series and with most cosplayers are these. These are the cream or unbleached white or off-white high-top Converse Chuck Taylors, commonly referred to as Chucks. So that's the pair that I recommend because that's what you do see most often throughout the series. Do not buy the regular white ones. If they're just called white, that means that they're the bleached white, and they're going to be super duper bright, and they just don't look the part. If for some weird reason that's the only kind that you can get, you can dye them like with a tea bath. I have seen that work pretty well, but I believe that these original unbleached white are like, I think that they were the very first pair of Chucks that they produced. So basically, any store that sells Converse is gonna have these. And if they don't, you can always order online. But if you don't want those, or if you can't find them, you do have a second option, the regular old black and white Chucks. These are seen with the brown suit in a couple of episodes, like The Impossible Planet, and I believe Fear Her as well. So that is an option. It is something a little bit different, but it is technically screen accurate, so that's cool. So high-top Chucks are available all over the place. Lots of department stores, shoe stores, you name it, most of them have Converse. If you don't have anywhere locally that you can get them though, you can go to either Converse.com or you can get them somewhere like Amazon. What I recommend, if this is your first pair of Converse that you've ever bought in your life, try to find a local store that has them. Even if they don't have the color that you want, just go there and try on a pair or two. The reason I say that is because they run large. And what I mean by that is, for me, for instance, my regular shoe by most brands, I wear size 12.5. In the Chucks, a size 11 fits me perfectly. So you really want to make sure that you know what size to order if you are ordering them online, just so that you don't have to worry about going through the hassle of exchanging them if they're the wrong size. Now, no matter where you get these, they're going to be about $50 to $55. If you get them from the Converse website, I think the price is a little bit cheaper, but they whack you on the shipping a little bit, so it all equals out. It doesn't really matter where you get them. You won't really find that great of a bargain anywhere unless they're having a sale. After the shoes, you're on to the third most important bit, shirts. So generally speaking, with the brown suit, you're going to want to buy some shade of blue for a shirt, or like a tan color. There are a few episodes where he wears a tan shirt with kind of a bluish tie, again like The Impossible Planet. Now, no white shirts. Don't buy the white shirts. There are plenty of episodes that in the right lighting, his shirt may look like a white one, but it's not. There were some interviews done by Steve Ricks where he interviewed Louise Page, who did David's costumes, and she talked about how David didn't want to wear white shirts because he thought it would look too stuffy. So if there's ever a scene that a shirt looks white, it's really just a very light blue one like this. So, again, starting at the top tier, technically most screen accurate, certainly most expensive, you can go with Magnoli Clothiers. They have now 3 options for 10th Doctor shirts available. They have the original Tennant shirt, which is what I have when I bought my entire ensemble together. This one, because it's light blue, you can't really see the stitching on the collar and stuff that well, but it does have that angled chest pocket, which is neat, and it has mitered cuffs. What the original Tennant shirt is great for, actually, is if you get a darker shade, like a French blue, because then it has contrast white pick stitching on the collar, and that's perfect for the layered look, where he has a couple of episodes where he has this really sort of unique looking shirt. So the regular old Tennant shirt is great for that. The second option, which is actually the newest one, they now make 10th Doctor shirts in linen, which apparently was the most commonly worn type of material that David had. And they offer those in a bunch of different colors, again, mostly shades of blue and tan. And for the third option, they have the anniversary shirt, which is basically a regular Tennant shirt, except it has the dark blue with polka dots lining inside the collar and inside the cuffs. Now, those options are obviously the most expensive. They generally hover around $135 a piece. That's a lot of money for a shirt. Granted, it is handmade stitch for stitch for you, so like if you order one of those, it's going to be the best fitting shirt that you'll ever own, don't get me wrong. But because most people aren't going to be really zeroing in on what kind of shirt you're wearing underneath your suit and everything else, generally it's more cost effective and totally fine to just go to any old department store and pick up a shirt. So generally from a department store you'll spend anywhere from like $20 to $50 on a dress shirt. It depends on how nice it is or if it's on sale or whatever. It doesn't really matter that much. I would say generally I go with like Aero brand shirts, and they're generally around $25-35. What I will recommend if you are shopping in a department store for your shirt, I do recommend that you go for either the slim fit, modern fit, or just some of them just call it fitted. I have no idea what the difference is between those 3 styles. There are even certain brands that make all 3, but to me they look and feel the same when I'm wearing them. I think the only difference is that maybe the modern fit has a little bit more room in the sleeves, but it's more well-fitting in the chest area. I could be totally wrong, so maybe Indy, if you're watching this, maybe you can enlighten us. But the point is that you don't really want the classic fit shirt. The classic fit is just generally a baggier, more loosely fitting shirt, especially in the chest area. It's certainly not cut in like a V, like trim shape. It's just kind of straight sides, so you will have a lot more shirt just hanging around. So for me, I don't really like that because it kind of feels like I'm wearing a tent. So, like for instance, this shirt, I bought this when I just really wanted like a navy TARDIS blue shirt, and the only kind that they had was classic fit. And so I said, how bad could it be? I'll just buy it anyway. And like, it's okay. It's fine once it's underneath the jacket, which is slim fitting, it's fine. But it does feel kind of baggy, and so if I'm wearing it like without the jacket, if I'm wearing it to work or whatever, I don't really care for it. But maybe that's just me. The other thing that I recommend is that when you're looking at collar styles, go for the spread collar versus the point collar. Again, this shirt is not good. This shirt is a point collar, and what that is basically is just these points are longer, and where the spread collar, they're a little bit shorter, and it looks nicer when you're doing the loose collar with the loose tie. Just the spread collar works better than the point collar. Again, the point collar is just kind of too much extra fabric hanging around. So this shirt is really not a great example of what to buy, but it's, you know, it's currently the best navy shirt that I have. I am going to be buying another one just because I don't really like this one anymore. But anyhow, about 25 bucks, any old dress shirt, and you're good to go. Okay, so if you are going for the layered look, or if you're really on a budget, you can basically stop here. The only other thing that you'll really need is an undershirt because you're going to have a couple buttons open. So if you are going for the layered look, There are a couple of episodes where he has an undershirt like mine. It's basically a t-shirt with buttons. Granted, mine is totally the wrong color. Mine's just like charcoal gray, and I bought it at Old Navy just because I liked it as a t-shirt. So if you can find one of these in brown, that would be perfect. So maybe Old Navy has them. I don't know. I haven't really done that much research into it. But the other option is you can just wear like a plain old blue or brown t-shirt. I would go with the crew neck, not a V-neck. But that's basically it. What you're going to do to achieve this, if you're not familiar with it, it's a little bit tough. You may need to get somebody to help you because the jacket is slim-fitting. But basically you're going to pop your collar, put the jacket on, close the jacket, and for me, what I have to do, I have to really kind of like pull the jacket down so that the back is tight up against my neck, and then you push your collar down over the top of the jacket. It's a little bit tough to do by yourself if you're struggling, so you may need somebody to help you out, or just do it in a mirror and fiddle with it for 5 minutes like I did. But so, if you're not a fan of the layered look, or if you just want to have some more versatility, we're going to move on to the next bit, which are the ties. So, as I said, the ties are completely optional, but if you're looking for one or more, there are definitely a bunch of great ones out there for you. So I'm actually going to start with this one. It's not the most expensive, but it's technically the most screen accurate because it is an original St. George by Duffer Tie. And these, I recommend you go out and buy one immediately because unlike most ties, these are still in production right now. You can get these from Debenham's, which is basically a department store in the UK. We don't have them here in the US, but they do have a website and they do ship internationally. That's where I got mine. And I bought mine like right when I heard the announcement that the 50th was coming out and there were pictures and stuff. So I was very lucky to get one then, because then they were sold out forever and ever. But now they're back and they seem to be in great supply. There's anytime I check the website, they're always available. So I'm definitely going to include the link for that below. These go for about 14 pounds, which is about $21 US. So it's the most screen accurate and the cheapest option available. Just a quick note, for technically the most screen accurate, there's two versions of this tie. There's the regular one and then what they call slim. Both ties are slimmer than usual. I mean, if we compare this to a regular tie, it's definitely slimmer. But this is the regular tie. It's 8 centimeters wide at its widest point. The slim version is 7 centimeters wide at its widest point. So really, there's not really a big difference because you're not going to see that part anyway. It's going to be underneath the jacket. But the other difference is that the screen accurate one has this light blue paisley lining, and the other one, I believe, is just a solid blue lining. So, beyond the original St. George by Duffer, the second best option are definitely all the ties that are available from Magnoli Clothiers. He has a number of replicas now. These are 3 of them that I own. Obviously, the fan favorite Swirly tie, the Shakespeare tie, which has quickly become one of my favorites, and then this is the lantern tie from the Idiot's Lantern. He does also have a number of others that I don't have yet, like the original Tennant tie, which is the Daniel Hector, the Utopia tie, which is another gorgeous one, and the latest edition, the Adipose tie. So all of Magnoli's ties are $60. I believe that's about 35 pounds in the UK. That does include shipping worldwide. So yeah, it's a little bit more expensive than you spend on a tie, but they're 100% silk, they're handmade, and they're great replicas. I mean, you're not going to get anything better. And if you're going to buy a tie for this outfit, I would say don't just go to a store and go, yeah, that one looks like it'll probably match okay. Because, granted, that is a great option if you're on a budget, but the tie, as small as it is, people do notice if you have a screen accurate one, and you know, it is like you do get compliments on them, and they're just great looking ties. You can wear them year round. The last option for ties, occasionally some pop up on eBay. There have been some originals that go up, like there have been a couple originals of this Thomas Nash tie, a couple originals of this, which is Giorgio Armani, and every once in a while you'll see maybe a St. George by Duffer, like the Utopia one with the flowers on it. But now that people know that they're worn by David, or as worn by David Tennant, they generally charge ridiculous prices. I mean, I'm talking like $100 and up for a polyester tie that if you were to find it in a store, it would be like 20 bucks. There are, though, there's a store on eBay now that's selling these ties. I believe the brand is like Rocha, John Rocha, or something like that. I could be pronouncing it totally wrong, I don't know. But they are selling some ties for cheap that were apparently originally purchased as options for David Tennant, the ones that he just never wore, but they are like combinations of brown and blue, so that's another pretty neat option as well. Now, if you do decide to go with the tie, important note is that the type of knot that David used exclusively is called the 4-in-hand knot. Again, he didn't want it to be too stuffy looking, so this is like the easiest knot to tie, and it is left a little bit loose. So when you do this, you want to make sure you leave the very top button unbuttoned, and if you're not familiar with the 4-in-hand knot, I'm just going to go very quickly. Wide end, over the skinny end, behind the skinny end, cross over the front, come up through the hole, and now this wide end is going to go down through the loop that you made, and then you're just going to pull it fairly tight, and you're not going to keep it real high, you know, it's going to be pretty loose. And I'm doing this without a mirror, so hopefully it doesn't look terrible, but that's it. Quick and easy. Leave it pretty loose, and you're good to go. Alright, so once again, you can technically stop here with the costume if you wanted to, but next we're going to talk about my favorite optional part, which is the overcoat. Alright, so while it's totally optional, the overcoat is arguably like the most badass part of the costume. So to me, like, you gotta have the overcoat. So there are really actually kind of a wide range of options for purchasing one. Number one, which is arguably the most screen accurate out there, is a coat made by Steve Ricks himself. So I'm going to put a link to his blog, and he's got some information on it there. He has his own pattern that he's compiled, and he makes the whole thing by hand, and they look amazing. The only downside is that I believe he charges around 900 pounds for that, which, if that's the right number, it's the equivalent of about $1,400 US. Yikes. I mean, if you got the money, go for it, because they look amazing. So the second best option, which is also like probably 99 to 100% screen accurate at this point, is the Magnoli overcoat, and that's the option that I went with. So the Magnoli coat, if you get it in the accurate faux suede, it's going to cost you $850. Still a big number, but considering what the coat's made of, not that bad. If you want to go for the slightly lower cost Magnoli version, you can get the cashmere wool blend material, and those are $6.95. The third most expensive option is the Baron Boutique coat. Don't buy this coat. It looks horrible. I don't know what happened, because their suits are fine. I mean, they have a great pattern for the Tennant suit, but they really dropped the ball on the coat. I mean, even like the photos that they have on their website are just gruesome. So, and I believe they charge around $390, somewhere in that range for that coat. So save your 400 bucks and don't buy that one. The fourth option is the Abbyshot / Thinkgeek coat, and this is the officially licensed overcoat. I believe these cost about $375. Don't buy this one either. While they call it officially licensed, it's surprisingly really not that screen accurate. The lapels are huge, the material is wool, the color isn't quite right, the lining is really super bright blue, so just save your money and don't buy that one either. So, coming in at number 5 on the list, this is the most cost-effective, but really the most screen accurate below the Magnoli, is the CosplaySky coat. This one you can get right from CosplaySky.com, or there are also a number of eBay sellers who have this as well for around the same price. So their coat is advertised at $99 for the faux suede version, or $135 for the wool version. If you are going to get this coat, definitely go for the faux suede, because that's the screen accurate material. Although I did notice on CosplaySky's website, so it's 99 bucks for the coat, plus an extra $20 if you're going to put custom measurements in, which you should, and then plus $30 shipping on top of that. So when everything's all said and done, it's about $150, $160 total. Which, all in all, that's a great deal for a pretty screen accurate coat. The only drawbacks are that it is a little more costumey, so the material isn't quite as thick, it won't be quite as warm, and it's not necessarily the most practical for everyday wear. But I actually had that coat first before I bought the Magnoli, so I'll put up a couple shots here. Back when, before I got the brown suit actually, I had the Baron Boutique blue suit in wool, which I didn't really care for, and I had the CosplaySky coat, which was great for a while, until I got this stuff, which is basically just a strict upgrade. So on to the next optional item, Brainy specs. I'm wearing my Magnoli Tennant glasses. I actually had the lenses swapped out for my prescription lenses, and I'm fresh out of contacts at the moment, so I've just been wearing these primarily. And these are definitely the most screen accurate option. I mean, these were replicated from images of David's original glasses. These cost $75, and they come with either clear glass or sunglass style brown lenses. And they're just great. They look awesome, they fit snugly but comfortably, and they're just totally worth it. Second on the list for a much more cost-effective, not quite as good-looking option are my original glasses that I had from Zenni Optical. These were about $19 for the window glass version, so definitely a great cost-effective option for if you're on a tight budget. And your third option for the Brainy specs, you can actually just go to any old store and look for like a pair of cheaters, cheap reading glasses, or a lot of stores sell just glasses with non-prescription lenses in them now just for the style. And so you can probably find something that's fairly accurate there for pretty cheap. Or if you're not a fan of the glasses at all, you don't have to get them and you can just go without them. So next we have props, which are completely optional, but they are a crowd pleaser. I actually have a whole separate video on props and mannerisms, so I'm not really going to get into it here, but I'm going to put up a link so you can click that right up there. Or for you folks on mobile devices, I'll have a link in the description box below. Though I will quickly mention that your costume will definitely not be complete without a screwdriver. So you have basically two options for a screwdriver. You have the universal remote, which is fantastic, most screen accurate option. It's about $100 if you buy it from Thinkgeek, about $120 if you buy it elsewhere. I don't know why. And the cheaper, not so accurate version is the toy prop, which costs anywhere between about $20 and $28, depending on where you get it. It's a fine option, and it's, you won't feel so bad if you drop it and break it. So, last and arguably the most important part of your cosplay, the hair. So I have, at this point in time, 5 different Tennant hair tutorials for various styles. So I'm going to put up some links to those right now, so please feel free to go check those out and get yourself some fantastic Tennant hair. So that about wraps things up for this first installment in the Cosplay How-To series. So I hope it was helpful, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and we'll have some more tutorials coming up in the future.